Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, host of Cape Conversations. However, I am here today to talk with you and some of our wonderful, wonderful town folks about the reconstruction of the Sandwich Boardwalk. We have with us a person you cannot see, but he has a wealth of knowledge, and he's going to introduce himself right now.
I'm Wendell Kelso. I'm president and principal of McGinley Kelso and Associates. We're an architectural and preservation firm that has worked predominantly on National Register properties over the last 40 years, including the Sandwich Town Hall, the Sand Hill School, and some smaller exterior projects at the Sandwich Library.
Excellent, thank you. And also with us is...
My name is Bill Daly, and I'm a member of the Sandwich Historical Commission, and I have been on the commission for about 15 years. I think I should, at this point, distinguish between the commission and the Historic District Committee. Unfortunately, the names are so much alike, they're easily confused. But the Sandwich Historical Commission, which I'm a member of, has a responsibility of protecting or preserving the historical assets of the town. We do not have any regulatory authority whatsoever. All of that resides within the Sandwich Historic District Committee, which is part of the Old Kings Highway District.
Thank you. And also with us?
And I'm Sam Jensen, Assistant Town Engineer.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we have some questions. And how I would like to do this, since you, Wendell, are off camera, I think I'm going to ask you first. Why isn't the boardwalk on the National Register? It's so historic and so iconic to the town of Sandwich, oldest town on the Cape.
I guess I maybe first say, I think the boardwalk is a very iconic structure. It has been symbolic and very much associated with Sandwich for, since it was constructed in 1875. And it has been destroyed a number of times since it was constructed, most recently in 1991. The existing boardwalk is a similar boardwalk constructed in 1992, and the Massachusetts Historical Commission determined that it was not eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. And it is the Massachusetts Historical Commission that determines eligibility for the National Register. So it's a determination that they made after reviewing relevant information.
Excellent. So, Bill, perhaps you can answer this. What is the historic importance of the boardwalk?
Well, as Wendell mentioned, it's certainly an iconic structure. It has been listed as one of the 10 greatest boardwalks in the United States. It has been in existence for almost 150 years, basically the same shape, although there are variations. And it is a place where kids and grandkids and all sorts of people use as a recreational facility. I think when you go back to 1875, it also shows how the seashore was being used as a recreational place, because prior to that, there was no access to the public beach in Sandwich. Town Neck was a cow pasture area. You couldn't access the beach over that area. So it was the first time that citizens could go down and enjoy the seaside, and this got passed in town meeting to construct a boardwalk or a plank walk across the marsh area to do so. And also the town also created a footpath from the depot down to the boardwalk, anticipating this new idea of going to the seashore and enjoy it. And of course, all of Cape Cod got wrapped up in that very rapidly, and we became the seaside community that we know today.
Wendell, isn't the project at risk if the property is added to the register?
It if it was determined eligible, it would not, the National Register does not prohibit changes being made. It adds a certain level of protection, but does not prohibit changes. For instance, the 1834, 1835 Sandwich Town Hall is on the National Register of Historic Places, and we made numerous changes to the building to make it both accessible for all individuals, as well as to have it function as a efficient and modern town hall. The fluted columns at the front of the building were actually shortened by 8 inches in order to make the building accessible for all individuals. So that being on the National Register does not prohibit changes from being made. So that, and I think a boardwalk is a very unique structure in that it's out there in a marine environment and has to resist, factors of climate change, rising sea levels, so that, it's a very unique type of structure.
Thank you. So, Mr. Jensen, how are you preserving the integrity and the use of the boardwalk with this project?
Well, an important part of this project is that we're going to improve accessibility for all users of the boardwalk. So we're going to correct some of the deficiencies and safety issues that are there. Namely, we're going to add railing, we're going to flatten some of the slopes, we're going to widen the boardwalk. It's going to be much better to accommodate all users. And that'll continue to support allow access from the historic Sandwich Village across to Town Neck Beach, which, as we understand, is one of the key functions of the boardwalk. It also will have accessible access to the beach on Milk Creek on the Town Neck Beach side. So there'll be a special ramp that'll be on the side of the boardwalk that'll allow folks to get down to the creek on that side.
Excellent. Bill, perhaps you can tell us, a lot of people are worried that we are ignoring the historic importance of the boardwalk.
Well, that's a tough situation, that's for sure. People have come to love this for generations after generations after generation, and to change it because of the regulatory needs to have railings and different heights, it's a cultural shock to many. It certainly is a cultural change. In my opinion, in the Historic Commission's opinion, is that this has great cultural value for the town to the extent it can be less bulky would be a good thing to keep it as clean a line as regulatory authorities allow. So that is the dilemma, trying to keep the old but yet incorporate the requirements of the new. It's not an easy task. Part of the history of this is interesting. Wendell talked about how this town hall where we're sitting today was built in 1833. It was built by a man named Ellis Howland, who happened to be the father of Gustavus Howland, who built the bridge in 1875, the plank walk. And he did that for the grand sum of $500 back then. And the history of those two structures are tied together by the fact that Mr. Gustavus Howland's home still stands on Main Street. It's that beautiful Italianate right down the way from here. So all of that is the history of the town. The fact that you mentioned earlier how your grandchildren jumped off the bridge is all part of the history of the town. It's in the Jarvisville Historic District, where the glass factory was. So it's very much integrated to our all historic cultural interests.
Thank you. So Wendell, a last question for you. Have other boardwalks on the North Shore of Cape Cod been reconstructed? That's a big question, I think. A lot of people are wondering. Have you done this before? Has this been done before?
It has certainly been done before, but I think some of the individuals in Sandwich are going to be more familiar with, which boardwalks have been reconstructed on the Cape than I am, being kind of from the mainland.
Okay. But there have been other boardwalks reconstructed on the Cape, isn't that correct?
Yeah, that is
That's
correct.
correct.
We reached out to some other folks, and we understand that there's been other boardwalks within the old Kings Highway Regional District that have been rebuilt. Gray's Beach comes to mind. I think there may be a couple others as well.
Excellent, thank you. Well, thank you all for joining us, and lots of great information on the reconstruction of the Sandwich Town Boardwalk. Thank you.